So the Chicago Bears, they just got some difficult news, and I really don't know why this should be a surprise to anyone, including myself. So, okay, here we are. Nate Davis was pulled from practice with an issue with his midsection or his hip. I mean, at this point, I'm not even sure it matters. I'm just going to come out at this point and say it. It's time for Connor Williams to become a Chicago Bear. He just worked out for Seattle. His reports are now he has medical clearance. He passed his physical with them. It looks like the guy can now practice, and he might be very well ready to go by the time the regular season starts. And I don't know, man. Seattle head coach Mike McDonald had a statement that was far from definitive on his health, though. We had a great visit coming off injuries, things like that. The timetable's a little bit up in the air, so we'll see where it goes. So is this a smokescreen? Is he healthy? Let's at least get him over to Hallis Hall, kick the tires to see if he's ready. I want to go over this story on Shy City Sports, kind of detailing the Nate Davis situation and also the state of our offensive line. You guys give them your eyes. They do amazing work. They are great for Chicago Bears content. So let's at least get Connor Williams over to Hallis Hall. Let's kick the tires to see if he's ready. If he is, I hope the Bears would just straight up get this done. I want to talk through why it makes so much more sense, how it'll improve this entire line. And the whole thing on Nate Davis is in this statement from Coach Flus. When asked about Davis specifically, whether the veteran right guard's dependability is becoming an issue, Coach Flus was blunt and telling in his response. Availability is everything in this league, and this is straight from Coach Flus. You got to be able to practice. You got to be available. That's part of preparing for the first part of the season. You have to callous yourself. That's your individual responsibility to the football team. When you're not out there, guess what? That doesn't happen. So, I mean, especially hearing that from Coach Flus, I mean, this might all come together and Davis gets healthy, but I'm not sure Davis should be in the plan for this line. It just isn't coming together. And I mean, we have a month still, but the line is so important. And Caleb Williams, he must be protected. And Jacob Infante, another guy that's pretty great at what he does. And this is what he had to say. If I'm the Bears, this is the starting offensive line I'm running with. Jones, Jenkins, Shelton, Bates, Wright. The best ability is availability. Nate Davis hasn't shown that. Just because he makes more money doesn't make him the best starting option. And myself personally, I'm going to close this down. You guys check this story out. It is fantastic. So I don't want to settle for that lineup. I think there's an opportunity here to swing for the fences. There's a competition at center. That's great. But without Davis in the mix, flexibility, an optimal lineup just is not there. And this defensive line is coming together. This Nate Davis issue is bringing me in line with so many others. I'm ready to pound the table for Connor Williams becoming a Chicago Bear. And another thing, as far as our what's left of the cap, the allocation, I believe we have about $12 million left. There's been a lot of people talking about spending this on the defensive line. But if you just listen to my previous story, I mean, we have Austin Booker starting to ball out. We have almost every single piece on this line bouncing inside and outside and being versatile. And I'm coming in waves, and Jacob Martin's developing into the player he was a few years ago. Jervon Dexter is developing into the 3-tech. We've got so many guys coming on. DeMarcus Walker, who had a ton of career high in quarterback hurries last year. He is ready to ball. So I think this defensive line is set. I think this coaching staff has a major plan for them. And I think it is time to allocate the rest of those resources into this offensive line, because this Nate Davis not being there and looking at that lineup, it doesn't really make me happy. So we're looking at an opportunity for the Bears to provide a long-term solution at the weakest position on this line. And Williams is two things. He's elite, and he's available. And I think we have a third thing. He's not only available for an acquisition, he's available to play. And it's not hard to see why Williams appeals to Chicago Bears fans. I mean, looking back, he started his career as a left guard for the Dallas Cowboys. We have a left guard need, but there's more. He had his breakout season at center for the Miami Dolphins just this last year in 23. Just a terrific run blocking asset for the Dolphins. They run a zone blocking scheme. He allowed just 1 sack and 6 pressures in 497 total snaps. That earned him an absolutely elite 90.5 run blocking grade and an 86.5 overall grade from PFF. And that's not a small feat. Those are great ratings. A 90.5 in run blocking and an 86.5 overall from Pro Football Focus. And it's just Bears going through again. 1 sack and 6 pressures in a full year of football, 497 total snaps. That's elite. And it's a matter of Ryan Bates as well. He has his most experience at guard. He would fit in so nicely there. And plus, he's here to provide just unbelievable versatility across the whole line at this point. And to hear it from Coach Flus, I think he agrees with this assessment. He said, hear it straight from him. Versatility on the offensive line is something that we have now and we didn't have before as much. So the depth is crucial. I always say a pair and a spare at each position. It sounds like a nursery rhyme, right? That's what we did today with Davis out. A pair and a spare. That's fantastic. So Williams was the second highest graded player at his position last year. Let's remember that. And that's according to PFF. Excelled once again in run blocking. Quite good in pass protection as well. Great overall grade. 6'5", 317 pounds. He allowed only, once again, I got to keep saying this because this is fantastic, only 6 total pressures all year last year. And then looking at last season, that wasn't a one-off year. That wasn't a one-time success because remember, in 2022 with Dallas, Williams allowed only 16 total pressures in 729 pass block reps. So that's him as a guard. Very good left guard for the Cowboys in 2021, but this dude's an elite center. 2022 wasn't with Dallas, so excuse me. And that's exactly where he would be for the Bears. That's where he could shore up one of the most important spots on the whole team. He hasn't signed yet, of course, with anyone. There's a rumor that Williams and the Seahawks have begun negotiations, but if you look at Seattle, they don't have much to spend. They don't have much to lure Williams. They might need to offer a multiple year deal. I mean, the team can't pay the player all that much in 2024. At least something more than a season gives him some security, but I don't know if they're going to get that deal done. The Bears have the cap space next year. They can make some moves to fit him in right now. I mean, cutting Larry Borum saves $3 million right off the bat. I don't even know at this point what it would take to get some money out of Nate Davis, but Poles moves quickly when he sees a player he wants. We all know that. And if he wants Williams, expect to see it soon. And for one, I'm saying this is a player that you have to pull the trigger on, even if he isn't ready for the regular season quite, or even if he isn't ready for camp. All indications are that he's going to be ready to go once the season starts. And we have an opportunity here as a fan base to pound the table for this front office to sign a player that's coming into his prime, sign a player who's elite at his position, and also be able to sign this player at a possible discount, maybe a 2-year deal. We would be more than happy to see that. And this can make this line absolutely formidable. And I think the defensive line is set. You guys let me know what you think. This isn't the first time I've talked about Connor Williams, but man, I think it's such a good opportunity. And this further news about Nate Davis, I'm not even sure it's news. We knew it was going to happen. That definitely helps with this decision. It's a no-brainer. So you guys tell me what you think. Bear down. What a great offseason it's been. It's going to be an even better season. Bank on it, and we'll talk soon. See ya.